Are we live?
I don't know. Are we?
And we're live.
And we're right.
What is going on? What are we doing?
I don't know what the hell am I doing in bed here.
What are we doing?
We're talking to Carlos.
I didn't even change yet. I'm still in my work clothes.
Fuck that.
Me too.
I need to wash my balls.
Tommy's not wearing anything.
No, I'm not. That's extra. Let me see them donations, baby.
That's on our OnlyFans.
That's what this is, right? Did I start the right thing?
You're gonna pay me to put clothes back on.
Whatever, as long as we get a couple bucks.
Oh,
Thanks a lot, asshole.
All right, so.
How come I don't have a wrench, by the way?
I don't
A wrench?
How do I do that? Let me
Oh, how did I get a wrench? That's kind of cool.
What the hell's a wrench?
say something, Chris.
In the chat, in the chat, I get a wrench. Yes, Tommy is in bed.
He's sick.
He's got smooth jazz playing,
The fuck I look like, dude?
setting the mood.
Say something, Chris. In chat.
I just did.
Why don't I see? Oh, there you are. Put user in timeout.
You should put him in timeout.
Carlos, I want your wrench.
There you go. He should be good now.
Wrench now?
What's up,
What's up,
Carlos?
And Dave. And everybody else.
We got
Thanks for hanging with us.
17 people, 18 people watching. We're not even doing anything today.
I don't see. Oh, there. I got a wrench. I got a wrench. Oh, I have all the power.
All the power.
I am no moderator. Oh, you guys have been warned.
What did I just do?
I'm gonna be a bad guy. Chris, do you know that movie? Do you know that movie?
What movie is that?
That was Blade.
Oh God, no. It's been a while since I've seen that.
Oh, business.
All right, so what are we
What are
doing?
we talking about?
I don't know. I don't know, man. What do we got going on now, guys?
Brian, did you want to talk about the last video you watched?
No.
No, we do not.
It was very fueling.
We could talk about Vision and STX.
Vision was awesome.
Vision was great.
Yeah,
was.
I enjoyed myself. It was great. Good times.
Dave wants to know when the drawing for the Pico is.
It is.
I'm gonna put it up right now. You guys can't see it, but they can. 1 day, 2 hours, 18 minutes, and 56.54 seconds.
What does that mean?
Wait, so are we going live tomorrow as soon as it's over and doing the drawing?
We're gonna go live, I think, on Monday and pick the winner.
Oh, okay. All right.
Monday I could probably do.
I think
Tomorrow
Monday.
I can't. I'm watching Batman.
Batman.
I haven't. Roy, watch
I thought you saw it already.
I'm watching it again.
Oh, that's
Is it that good?
It's that good.
All right, I gotta go see it.
Yeah, Subaru class. Chad just mentioned was great. I
Bro,
wasn't in it, but I heard really good stuff about it, and I
that
kind of
class-
wish I was there.
I gotta call Scott and thank him again because that class saved my trip.
Yeah?
It was worth it just for that class.
Awesome. Man, I wish I would have taken it. What was I doing
So-
that day? I think I was in Perkins' class.
Bryn wants to know who won the Pico. You want to tell Bryn that it's not yet?
Ow! Oh, sorry. Fucking dog bit me.
People are worried about me.
He's mad because his mom's not home.
Why is Bryn messaging us when he should be on here?
Yeah.
Is he pulling a Mike Robinson?
He is.
Why are we looking at his kitchen light?
You probably saw that we went live and went, wait, I should be there. Yeah, so guys,
So-
we got one more day, guys.
All right.
So if you have any intentions of winning this thing, you gotta enter. I don't want to sound like the My Pillow guy, but I mean,
I don't want to say your odds will be increased by buying more tickets, but I mean, your odds will be increased by buying more tickets. Just saying.
Isn't that how it works, man? Where's Brent? I don't see him.
He's chatting. He's
Carlos-
Yeah,
chat.
Carlos says Bryn is tired.
he's always tired. That's just the way he is.
Hey, he had lots of energy for the diag is right.
That was phenomenal. I have that recording done. It's edited. It's even on YouTube, but it's unlisted. You guys can't see it yet. But as soon as we get permission, I plan on sharing that to let everyone be able to see that. That was pretty awesome.
Yeah, that was fun. That was cool.
I was absolutely blown away by the enthusiasm and the way he hosted that. It was amazing. I wish I had his enthusiasm.
Yeah, that was and that was all Bryn too. So
Yeah.
for those of you who didn't see the tech talks with Bryn, you're in for a treat because
Wasn't Bryn
Oh,
plus cocaine?
like, man, what the fuck's going on here?
it was
How come I didn't
hilarious.
know- Did I miss a meeting or four? Shit.
You what?
I said I didn't know what the hell was going on either. I had no clue.
Oh yeah,
I was like,
you were kind
did
of
I
left.
miss
I was almost left out of it.
I
I had no idea.
Bryn-
I mean, is your-
my
I mean,
total
your
contribution. My total contribution to the whole thing was doing the diag is right logo. And that was it. The rest of it was
Which that came out. That
was
came out
Bryn's
awesome.
idea. It looked pretty good,
I
didn't
was
it? Yeah,
wondering
I was all
who did
excited.
that. I was wondering who did that. Well, you did the.
I mean, is your
You
phone
had to
resting
hold.
on your boobies?
You had to hold up the cheer sign.
Huh?
So.
Is your
Applause.
phone resting on your boobies? Or is it
Yeah.
your laptop? Okay, that's sexy.
it's not it's my laptop actually.
Okay,
Yeah.
it's sexy though. Just want to let you know I'm imagining it.
Hey man, for
All
5
right.
hours, you might get to see some home. So keep them coming. Keep them donations coming, guys.
I like B Matusi said tomorrow's payday, just in time to buy more tickets.
Buy 'em all.
Nice.
Yep, that's your last chance. So, wow, hi from Brisbane, Australia. Thanks for watching, Stephen. I'm sorry. You're either staying up late or got
Yeah.
up early to watch this. To watch
You
this.
say, what time is it there?
Australia? No, Australia. It's like
Tomorrow right there
midday.
in Australia.
It's like lunchtime. I think in Australia right now.
Tomorrow in Australia.
Brisbane.
He's
yeah.
he's watching from the future.
I gotta look it up. Brisbane, Australia, time. It is 12:45, lunchtime.
I told you it's lunchtime.
Oh, all right.
These
Okay.
on my bucket list of places to go until I found out it's like a 28-hour flight.
Well, that doesn't everything in Australia kill you? Try to kill you at least.
No, I said New Zealand.
Well,
Oh, Australia too. I think they got their fair share of deadly animals.
It's worse than Guatemala, man.
Yeah. In Guatemala is the damn pollution.
All right, so what else?
Is this it? Is
What do
this
we
it?
got?
This is what we're doing?
I think this is it. We're just doing a
Just so everyone
a
knows,
hangout.
we're just hanging out tonight. There's nothing going on. We're just gonna BS, and you don't have to stay.
This is just
Can I
this
go?
is just a shameless plug to try and get you to buy more tickets.
Is it working? Brian, is
Kill-
it working?
No, we haven't gotten any. So far, there's 3 total tickets sold.
We should have. Wow, so far your odds are really good at winning.
$30.
Oh, jeez.
So, what's going on with STX? Rich, how many classes are you teaching now? Like 72?
Well, I'm not teaching as many as you, but
We got 2.
I'm teaching 3 classes. At least
Really?
as of right now, I am doing a Toyota class, a amp clamp class, and an ADAS best practices class. How about you, Chris? What are you teaching?
I'm teaching my full day body and CAN bus class, so that's split into 2. I'm teaching the diagnostic workflow class.
That the one you
that I
wrote?
the one that I wrote, and that I'll perform. And then I'm teaching Volkswagen wiring diagram class, kind of like what Peter Orlando did, but different.
Nice.
And then I'm teaching.
I want to watch.
I'm teaching another one. Oh, a scope class. Yeah.
I'll suck for going.
Oh, that's right. You're doing so you bought a scope. Now what? I love
So you
that.
bought a scope,
That's a
now
great
what?
name for a class.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah. So
We'll
if you guys are looking to getting a scope class, like it's gonna be bring your own scope. It's gonna be fun. I'll show you how to use it. Bring your old dusty, dirty scope and let's play with it. That came out wrong.
Awesome. Or it didn't.
They came out right.
That's right. Giggity.
Carlos.
And then, at least according to Dave Wagner, that's Super Saturday is back on, right?
Yeah,
It's on cracking.
that's what he said. Yeah,
Not a pop-
I'm excited about that.
I can't wait for that one.
That's one of my favorite events. Just
Oregon.
it's smaller, it's more intimate. I don't know.
We get to throw axes.
Yeah,
But-
That was so much
you can
fun. And
bring
Yep.
your own beer and you can throw axes at the
Throw
wall.
axes. What could possibly go wrong, right?
What?
In the middle of nowhere in this like abandoned building.
In North Philly or north of Philly.
I remember driving up there with Tommy and Mike. I'm like, is this it? It's like this abandoned building.
Was that the trip that Mike cracked open the beer?
Yeah, and the ride home from that building was also interesting.
Is that where I yelled at him?
Yeah. Who knew that it's illegal to drink in the back seat while you're driving?
Mike didn't, apparently.
I was just opening the bottle because he taught me how to do it with my ring.
All right.
So Super Saturday is definitely happening again?
Yeah.
According to Dave,
Is he in here?
he had a couple of drinks one of those
Is
nights.
he in the chat here?
We literally had like a 20-minute conversation by the elevators about nothing. All he kept saying is, "I'm drunk. I'm drunk. Never been this drunk here."
Yes, Carlos. Very intimate. Yes.
Tommy, we have some requests to see some skin.
Yeah. Can you pan that camera down a little bit?
Or dirty jokes.
That's a big ass pan, bro.
That's a pot. It's actually a crock pot.
A Blackstone, man.
Okay. Is that it? Are we done? What are we doing?
I think that was it. Yeah, I think
There's
that's it.
31 people,
What else?
32 people watching this right now.
They're
I
like,
feel so sorry for them.
It's like we're back at Vision in the Sheridan Lounge. So
Yes, it is.
we're just
Yes.
chilling.
You know what? That's what we should have done at the Sheridan Lounge.
We need a
Was
photo.
done a live from the Sheraton lobby.
they were all there.
Yeah. We need to get a photo of the Sheridan and use that as our virtual background.
Oh yeah, that would be a good one.
Somebody put in that picture of Mike from the Vision a bunch of years ago. They streaked his face. What's that picture?
The what?
Becker.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
That's
Where's that picture of Becker?
that's in the depth of my phone somewhere.
Hold on, I think I might still have it. Hold on.
Smollett invitation. Dave.
Hey, buddy.
They gave him 5 months in Cook County. Good luck, Poco. He's gonna get a lot of love in there, especially Cook County. I'd rather go back home to go to Cook County. Oh man.
Oh, here it is. There it is. Hold on.
Uh-oh.
How do I do this?
You gotta share your screen, or you got it on
Oh,
your
no,
phone.
I gotta email it to myself and make it my background. Give me a
Oh,
second.
jeez.
I was just talking to Becker the other day because there's an NGK class coming to my area, and I'm like, "Hey, are you on tour?" And apparently not. He doesn't even know what the class is and who's doing it. So.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, apparently there are some live CTI classes coming out soon. So
What happened was
Uh,
yeah,
Sweet. You getting
I'm checking the.
back in the swing of things, back to normalcy.
We're working on it. I'm still gonna do a. Oh, we'll see. Okay, virtual.
MGK guy.
MGK, Machine Gun Kelly Becker.
Far from it.
Oh, Dave Patrick is doing a AC class in Winterville, North Carolina. Let's see who else is doing live classes. But we got live classes coming back. But virtual isn't going anywhere. I got some great feedback tonight. The guys love the virtual classes, so
That one.
they're staying.
Awesome.
that's you never get rid of that.
Did Hey Buddy join your class again?
He was there.
Was it?
He was there. The Olympic swimmer was there.
Hey, buddy. I just want to see, is that on YouTube? I want to see it, guys. I want everybody to see the picture of Becker. It's hilarious.
Can they see it?
I'm hoping so. No, it's not.
No, we can't see it yet. Oh, did you share it? That's probably on my other monitor. Hang on. Yeah.
I see it.
I'm sure Mike Becker won't mind us sharing that at all.
There we go. I see it.
Right.
I got it. Hang on. There it is.
They got Aaron Rodgers for 4 more years. He's happy.
Dude, is that official?
Yep.
Yeah. Cool.
Carlos, yes, they are doing Super Saturday this year. So for anybody in the Northeast, and I think it's going to be 2 days, right?
Probably. That's what it was supposed to be the last year. It got canceled. So hopefully this coming year it's going to be.
I'm a little worried since all the changes and stuff, man. If it changes anything in terms of how it used to be, so hopefully it stays the
I
same.
wonder if I could do this.
Well, I think it's going to be at
out.
a different venue, so that'll be different.
I'm saying like you know how things change when associations change and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Oh, now that it's Mwaka, Flocka, who knows, whatever.
Waka Waka.
Yeah, there's a whole lot of Akas.
Yeah. We'll see. Hopefully it's for the
Hey, Chad.
Well, she won't, Chad. Oh, other Brian. Never mind.
We are getting
best.
practical mechanics.
I got
Says
it.
they're getting live Napa classes as well.
Too many Brians.
What are we doing now?
I don't know. What do you want to do? Anybody got something cool to talk about? This whole week, I've been the Grim Reaper. Every car I diagnose is like a $3,000 or $4,000 or $5,000 repair, and they just say, "Oh, I'm just gonna trade it in, or I'm just gonna junk it, bring it to the scrapyard." Like, all right, well, I'll just say goodbye.
I can't fix a fucking sandwich this week, man. I've been getting my ass kicked.
Really?
Yeah, it's nothing but crap, man. Any flavor you want. I got Korean. I got German. I got fucking American. God damn.
Really?
I got like junks at the shop right now kicking my ass.
I had two interesting mechanical problems. I had both of them ended up being intake valve leakage.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Were they 3.6s?
One was a 2.7 Ford F-150, and the other one was an older RAV4 with like 380,000 miles on it.
Jeez. Something finally broke.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, finally.
Dave says traded in for what?
Yeah, something that's
Nothing.
something with 280.
There's nothing available.
380.
You get a incomplete car that you get the rest of the parts later.
Yeah.
Somebody was telling me Porsche is delivering cars without power steering because they don't have it. So you get your car, but
That about a bit.
they'll install the power steering later.
What? How do you deliver the car without power steering?
I don't know.
Especially one without, that is supposed to have power steering.
Yeah, exactly. That's a fun drive. I guess if you're buying a Porsche, that's probably your 6th or 7th car. It's not not your daily driver, So obviously, I'm not ordering a Porsche.
Michael Nicholson's says, "What do we have going on in
What's
here?"
going on, Mike? We're basically just hanging out and hoping people just start watching and buying tickets for the Pico raffle. That's about it.
I'm gonna keep putting it up so they can see it. One more day, 2 hours, 3 minutes, make it happen. So,
Mike, I finally got to try your latest pulse sensor, and it was awesome.
we have
It is
one of his
fantastic.
we have one of his pressure pulse sensors to give away, and that's going to be
I got one
one of our next upcoming things.
Nice. I got an original here from a long time ago, but his latest one is awesome.
Yeah,
Oh yeah.
So
I should put up that video of that. Hang on. Hold my beer.
Oh, beard.
Beer.
Oh, my bad.
nice background, Chris.
Motherfucker.
So here is
All
going to
right.
be our
That's my
next.
boy. He's staring motherfuckerly.
Practical mechanic. Wait. All right. 2004 Jetta, 1.9. Used turbo.
1.9. Fucking diesel. Ugh.
Look at that baby. This thing's beautiful.
No gracias.
Yeah, well, I want to know what's up with that thing. That thing's pretty freaking sweet. Why don't I have one?
This is,
Diesel Jetta?
No, the pulse sensor that Brian's showing right now.
And what you gonna use it for?
What up, homies?
What
Hey,
the?
Perkins.
Here we
Don't worry,
live.
we're not live. Say whatever you want. Say whatever you
What's
want.
up?
No.
I don't trust a single thing he says.
Good idea.
Sorry, had CTI class tonight, so
No, you're
just
good.
got off.
We're just chilling, so it's whatever.
Just chilling. Are we gonna give away a Pico?
Not today.
Until Monday.
We got
Not till
one more
Monday.
day.
How about
One
I-
more day.
Okay.
One more day.
I made a video and I mentioned it, and I was like, for $10,
There it is.
You
I
could
told-
win one.
I told Brian I'd give him a Pito for free. He doesn't know what that is.
I had trimmed
You make me
4.5 inches
painful.
off my beard.
I'm glad you said beard.
From where?
You always,
know, right?
You always look presentable.
Almost.
Almost. I'd hit it.
Is anyone else like anxiously awaiting pictures from Vision?
I hit it with a brick.
I am.
Yeah.
Oh God, I'm on a diet since I saw one picture from Vision.
Yeah.
It was weird not seeing Howard taking all the photos. I was like, where is he?
I know.
Who are these people?
He was
Yeah.
back home, right?
Oh, I forgot about that, bro.
I didn't. I missed. First thing I did, I was like, I wonder where Howard
Nah,
is.
bro, because that guy always be taking pictures of me when I'm on my damn phone.
Or eating your
It's
lunch.
because you're always on your phone.
Oh, we could wait. Like when I'm on the shitter or something.
You take pictures of yourself when you're on the shitter. Stop.
No, I take pictures of the floor.
Like, why are you in here, Howard?
Like my hotel room floor.
Chris, did you read Chad's car?
You should be
diesel?
working on it to begin with. That fucking.
Just drive it off the Skyline Road or whatever that road was that you scared the hell out of me on.
Turbo shelled.
Well, I probably ought to
You're
get
muted,
on,
Chris.
YouTube, so I
I'm
can.
not muted.
Oh, all right. Never mind. I'm looking at the wrong screen. Never mind.
What does? Excuse my ignorance. What does turbo shelled mean?
Yeah, I don't know what that is either.
Sounds like it
It says
exploded.
used turbo shelled, so it probably oil starved and compressor touched the housing.
Sounds like you got a shit turbo, bro.
So
Something else fucked up.
Old new VN. Sometimes the
Sold new
boost
vent.
sensor shows pressure lower than Barrow.
Right?
Well, how about put a
that's a
regular
restriction
boost pressure-
somewhere.
How about put a regular boost pressure sensor on and see if that's actually what's going on?
Yeah. Or how about you just run it over a cliff where it belongs?
That's what I said. Drive it off
He says
Skyline
runs better
Drive.
with the MAF unplugged. So if you stop giving it fuel control,
Oh, it's his sister's car, so he has to fix it.
The fix still stays the same. She's got insurance, right?
Give your sister a Toyota. Come on. Or give her that Mercedes bus.
well,
That thing is cool. I like that thing. I'm not a fan of buses or Mercedes, but that thing
But
was
that
cool.
thing is awesome. Yep.
I have no clue what you guys are talking about.
Chad's. I don't even know what to call it. Bus.
It's like an oversized Sprinter bus. I forget what they're
So
called.
bad. I feel like such a jackass because Chad's over here talking to me and I'm like, what the fuck's this guy talking to?
so
What?
so we had a Sprinter dropped off
Sorry, Chad.
Monday or Tuesday.
VNT.
Monday?
You won't have Volkswagen.
Yeah.
I think it was Monday.
What the fuck is a VNT 17 turbo?
Fuck if I know. You're the fucking Volkswagen guy.
I don't diesel.
That's why I was asking. That's why I was asking you.
Anyway,
Fucking
they
diesel.
dropped this Sprinter
Fuck,
off.
fuck.
I
Uh-huh.
dropped the keys off, and it's got a locksmith KR55 key, and no one knows where it came from. Nobody
Oh,
calls.
jeez.
They just drop it off, right? Tow truck driver's like, I was told to bring it. I was like, L1 Automotive.
Back up, back up.
TA 40 South 107, right? He was like, yep. I was like,
What year is it?
okay. It's
Back up.
07, 06, 05. I
Oh,
don't
an
know.
old one. Oh,
It sat out there until somebody called and said it was theirs and asked how much to look at it. And we said $350 an hour. And they were like, well, the dealer's $166. I was like, your key's in the front office.
I heard you say
So they
KR.
towed it out today.
What the hell did you say? KR55?
It had a brand new KR55 key.
Oh Lord.
So, and
Yes.
from looking out from the office into the parking lot, I could see the serpentine belt hanging underneath the car.
Not you.
It won't start. It's because the motor's locked up.
Zero
Yeah, I
replacement
don't.
variable vane turbo.
Didn't
So-
even
so
open the
Chad.
door.
So Chad, can somebody give Chad a fucking link so he can come in here?
Yeah.
So we don't have to put this in the thing.
All right, wait, hold on. I
I've-
actually have.
Before we do that, I have a picture of his bus. Let me put that up.
Francisco, you haven't missed anything, but
That's pretty
yeah,
cool.
we're literally just hanging out. But you putting up a picture of the bus?
I just did, yeah. I'm gonna
Oh,
put the link
okay.
in chat. And anybody wants to join, come on in. Let's go crazy.
Yeah, why not?
Oh my God.
Can you give Chad,
All right,
can you
so-
give Chad a link? Go
Here,
on.
wait. I want to say something about Francisco. Was one of the guys that won a prize at Bryn's Tech Talk, and he donated the majority of it back to us so that we could raffle it off. So, Francisco, you are awesome, and we totally appreciate that.
Yes.
He donated all of the CTI classes to the to some of the students who were there at Vision.
Oh, what
and,
did
Oh my God,
you
you
do,
posted it.
What'd you
Yeah.
do?
Oh, there's only
no.
30 people watching.
Oh no.
That's fine. Let's have all 30 of them on here. Why
Oh,
not?
Jesus Christ. This
Because
is not, no.
the ability to go live goes away,
Oh.
depending upon what they say.
Oh, okay. Oh, what's the worst that could happen?
I got the power of the mute. We're good.
That's right.
I just wanted to chat on here so I could ask. I don't want to deal with this in the chat.
It's only 30 people. We're fine.
Oh,
And probably maybe one person will join.
Chad says he has to put clothes on.
No, you
No, you
don't.
don't. No, you don't. Look
Hey,
at
there's
Tommy.
Carlos
It's 10 o'clock. You don't need clothes.
and Brian.
I still got my
Brian,
work
good.
uniform on.
Jack,
Me too.
Chubby.
Kind of. Actually, I just didn't wear a work shirt. I just wore a diagnostic shirt today to work.
Carlos.
No.
Carlos, you gonna dance? Carlos, don't come on unless you're gonna do the dance.
I want to know what Carlos liked about Vision.
What Carlos
I want
is
to
this?
see you dance.
Pop. That fucking steak we had, boy. Ooh,
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
that place was legit. Thanks, Bryn.
that place was
Yeah.
good. Yeah.
Yeah, and then Bryn whips his credit card out. I'm like, what are you doing?
I know.
I was
And
stressing.
then-
I missed it.
stressing over like the $60, $70 steak, that, paying for it myself, and then he's like, "Oh, I'll just pay for everybody." I'm like, what?
Where
I
was
went
that?
there. I went there the next night
Really?
with
it
all the
Q30?
CTI people.
Oh yeah, we're
I forget the name of it.
Hereford House.
Okay.
Hereford does. Yeah.
Hereford.
That was good.
Hereford.
That was good.
I ended up staying until the lobby till 3 a.m. And
Ooh.
Tracy Carm's daughter was there, and Justin Morgan and Justin Roberchet. I don't know what it was. We were just all there, and then we were all kind of down. And Fanslow was like, "Hey, it's 3 a.m."
Carlos.
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 When
Can you
was
dance,
this?
please? Can you do the dance?
It's not can he? It's just will you do it now?
Yeah.
We know he can.
All right, kick
Damn
him,
it.
Brian. Kick him.
Damn it, Carlos, dance. Can somebody play the dancing video? Brian, you got the dancing
I have
video.
it somewhere.
Dave, I'm on here. No one's too ugly for video.
And no one's too old for video, too.
Oh, damn. That's it. I'm
Wow.
leaving. Man.
Yeah. Just wow.
Just, wow.
All right. Is anybody here going to STX?
No.
Yes, sir.
Carlos, you going to STX?
I know Keith is.
What
I know
the frick,
Martino is. Carlos, you going?
We can't hear you, Hoto.
You're muted, man.
You're muted.
Oh, better now.
There you go.
There
There
we
we
go.
go.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm going, really.
You should,
Okay.
you should talk to your boss. See if they'll let
I
you
know.
go.
I need to talk to the boss. I'll find out tomorrow. I don't know.
Isn't his boss teaching?
Yes.
Yes, he is.
Okay.
His boss should ask for an assistant, and that should be Carlos.
There you go.
There you go. I like that.
But you gotta dance though, man. You gotta dance. You got the moves. I wish I could dance like you.
Look, if I go, I'll dance. I don't care.
That's
I'll do it.
the spirit.
I like it.
It's worth it.
Chad's setting up. All right. We got a.
Chad, hook up your.
We
got somebody else joining.
Car and let me log in. I'm gonna play with
I'm
that
gonna
thing.
butcher this name. Was that Saley?
Is it Sidel?
Sayel.
I'm terrible.
I don't know, but they're not muted.
No.
Pedro Gonzalez says, greeting from Veracruz, Mexico. Hey, Kip's on there.
We got
Why is
somebody
Kip
from
not a Blue
Australia.
Ridge?
Yo, that
And-
bike's up. What's cracking?
Chad's setting up to join. Okay.
Good.
Hey, Kip.
Tell
That's
Chad
what I
to
said. I seen Kip on there. Why didn't he?
And I want to log into it. I want to see what's up with this thing. I'm gonna do it.
We're gonna diagnose the car right now.
I'm gonna try.
All right.
You did so good with Dave Wagner's car.
Hey, I did it. It may or may not have been right, but I did it.
We didn't actually.
Oh, man, I got...
We didn't record what actually happened to that car when he did what you suggested.
When it burst into flames.
Nolan.
Nolan.
Quad 4?
Oh, shit.
I showed that to all my guys the other day. They hadn't seen it yet. I underestimated how loud the kaboom was.
When you play that on a surround sound with a subwoofer, it's phenomenal.
Crazy ass Filipino, man. What the hell are you driving for, man?
What's up, guys?
What's up,
It's been
Nolan?
a while.
What you doing, man?
We missed you at Vision.
Fucking driving.
Yeah, I'm driving. Yeah, I didn't get to go. I was scheduled to teach through the quarter, but we ended up finishing early, so I never made plans to go to Vision.
Is that Nolan?
Yeah.
Find
It
out.
is.
No.
Yeah.
Nolan was our last
Like,
winner.
it's like I can hear him talking. I just can't get the full screen. There we go.
Oh, I still have my background on there. Cool.
I was like, it's still sunny out there?
I know, that's what threw me off. I'm like, he's floating in the sky.
He's high as hell right now.
So how was Vision? Was it fun? Good?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Yeah, it was a
It
good
was
time.
nice to be back live.
I had great
I
classes.
saw the class lineup. It looked real interesting.
I took Pedro's EPROM class. That was, I thought, pretty phenomenal. That's something I have not delved into at all yet. So it was all exciting for me.
Was that a hands-on class?
No, it was just lecture, but it was great.
Oh, okay. Ooh.
What was that?
Where's Chad?
I was like, Chris just dropped a load.
I bounced around. I was handing out books with Isaac the whole time, so I saw the beginning of about 6 different classes.
That's good.
I held my 5th annual lobby classroom.
He said 5th annual lobby classroom.
After walking out of my 5th annual class.
I taught to the largest crowd I've ever taught to in person. It was,
Yeah.
I saw it. I seen it.
I
you
seen
synced
it.
How
Oh,
many
did you-
people? Was it your
Did you
network
go in there,
class?
Ryan?
What's
Yeah,
that?
it was my network class.
I saw
Awesome.
both of them. So whichever one it was, I saw it.
Oh, did you go to both of them?
Yeah, I was in both.
I didn't even see it.
God, you didn't
There's
even
My
so
notice
class
I
was
was
sold
there?
out. I'm happy my class was sold out.
That's how many people were there. You didn't even see me.
Well, Rich, you taught in a broom closet. I mean,
Yeah, did you see that? Oh, I hate that class. That's like the 3rd year in a row they put me in that dumbass wide class with 2 screens.
I
So,
did
like,
the
if I'm trying
same
to-
class, Rich,
Yeah.
in the morning.
Yep, but like if you want to point to something on the screen and be like, "There's the actuator," I got to go to one side and then walk to the other side and point at it.
Point
It's
to
like,
it, yeah.
Bryn
have a
gave
laser
me
pointer?
his laser pointer, and I'm like, you know what? I had a green and a red laser pointer. I was gonna be like,
You gotta use
know-
a mouse cursor to do
Were you
both.
doing
Yeah.
Star Wars or CTI.
Over there.
exactly. Yep.
Chad.
There's Chad.
What up,
What
Chad?
up?
Hey guys, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
You got pants on?
I'm a little rusty.
He's like, oh, I just had to set up my multi-$1,000 recording studio and stuff.
Oh, come on now.
And it sounds perfect.
Are you near that car, Chad?
No.
Dang it.
I was sitting in my bathtub soaking my foot because my foot hurts.
Oh, I wanted to play with that. I wanted to play with that. Log into it and see.
So I have a whole bunch of stuff apart on it right now, just because I was testing stuff right before we left the shop. So the story on this thing, am I up? Are you guys done talking?
Yep,
okay.
yep.
No, we got a lot of stuff to in front of you. No, absolutely. Someone do something constructive tonight.
Yes, please give us some content.
So it's a 2004 Volkswagen Jetta. I owned the car like 5 years ago for a short period of time, and I sold it to my sister for a commuter car. Now this car has like 300,000 miles and has always been running fine. It developed an exhaust leak from the EGR cooler gasket. It had blown out. I replaced that, and then she didn't drive the car, but she sold it. And sold it for like $2,500, and the guy drove it for 2 days, and the turbo blew up and pumped all the oil into the exhaust.
Yes.
Why did the turbo blow up? Because of 300,000 miles, or something happened?
That I don't know.
Something
It was running fine when I fixed the exhaust leak. I drove it. I didn't have any overboost, anything. I had a glow plug code, but other than that, everything ran fine. And the transmission works great. So I don't know what happened in the meantime. The guy that bought it put probably 250 miles on it, and he said it was running fine until it didn't. So I don't know
But sorry, typically things work really well right before they don't. That's my conversation with customers, because they're always like, it worked fine yesterday. I'm like, yeah, most things work right up until they don't.
Sometimes there's a little bit of warning, but
I'm assuming that the turbo either just failed or the variable vanes stuck and overspun the turbo.
Well, you said you had an exhaust leak?
So
we fixed the exhaust leak.
But where was the exhaust leak?
did the compressor wheel actually hit the compressor housing?
So the first one, the compressor wheel broke in half.
Yeah, overspeed.
Wow.
The exhaust turbine was down the pipe.
Okay. Yep.
So filled the exhaust completely full of oil. A new turbo from Volkswagen's $2,500. So
You got a China turbo.
So we got a used turbo. The local junkyard had one for like $200. Put that one on there, and it started making noise after about 10 miles. So I think it was junk from the get-go, and it was a pretty rough looking turbo.
What kind of noise? Bearing noise or noise?
The compressor was there's a lot of shaft play once we took it apart, and the compressor was actually rubbing the housing. Now I wasn't there when that turbo showed up, so I don't know how much shaft play it had to begin with.
You say shaft play one more time.
I should have checked the shaft play. And so a VNT 17 was recommended to us by another Eurotech that works on a lot of diesel Volkswagens. It's basically the European version that came on the BEW. Kerma TDI is who I bought it from. It has a slightly different size chamber, I guess. It's supposed to be direct bolt-on, plug and play, no programming required. And I was at Vision when it was installed, so that we did verify that we had good oil pressure before I left. And we had, on a vehicle that was at 150 degrees, we had 60 psi on startup at the oil pressure switch. So I assume that we have good oil. I did not take the line off to make sure that oil dumps out. We replaced the supply line. We flushed out the drain line, and we also flushed out the intercooler to prevent, runaway condition. Now, when the first turbo failed, it actually came in and was hydrolocked because so much oil went through the intake. But it runs fine. There's no misfire. So I don't think it did any damage. I just pulled the glow plugs out and cranked the oil out.
That's an 04?
Yes.
I'm just looking up service information while we're here. Jetta?
Jetta. 1.9
Jetta.
BEW.
Yeah.
Is that a Pompadour's?
Yes. No, wait. Yeah, that's the one with like the unit injectors. Yeah.
Oh, I have that SSB somewhere. Hold on. Hold on.
So the new turbo, Tech drove it, up the local mountain, and it was running okay, but not as good as they thought. So they brought it back in. They like, well, maybe there's some debris from that old turbo stuck in the intercooler. So they took the intercooler out, flushed the intercooler out, just to make sure water runs right through it, air goes right through it. But it's hard to get that kind of volume when you're flushing an intercooler. Put it back together, drove it back up the mountain, and it had even less power. So when I started it cold yesterday and went down the street, I didn't think I was going to even get moving. It had such low power, and I unplugged the mass airflow. Some power was restored, but while monitoring the boost pressure sensor that's mounted at the top of the intercooler, we noticed that the atmospheric or the baro pressure is perfectly normal for my altitude. If you give it a really, really light throttle, it will build some boost. So since you're a Volkswagen guy, like my altitude, I'm at 830 millibar, because we're at 5,300 feet. So desired is still will show like 1,500, 1,600 millibar, and I can only get it to hit maybe 1,100 millibar, so only a couple of pounds of boost. Now there's no actual reference port that I can hook into to check actual boost without drilling a hole in something, because there's no vacuum ports or anything on that intake manifold or the intercooler piping. Now I could take out the boost sensor and try to get something in there so I can measure actual boost, but it's not really something that's easy, because that boost sensor is hard to get to.
While you're talking, I'm reading up the self-study program in that engine.
Okay. But here's the weird thing. This last time I drove it, we drove it with the mass airflow unplugged, and certain throttle positions and speed, I can actually get negative pressure or lower than atmospheric. I can get down to about 750 millibar on the boost sensor, which tells me I have a restriction.
The boost sensor is mounted where?
On the top of the intercooler before the intake.
Okay.
So I'm like, okay, well, maybe the intercooler is restricted. So we unhooked the lines to the intercooler, and I just grabbed a shop vac, hooked the hose up to the discharge port, and shoved it in the intercooler, and it does full discharge out of the intercooler. I know that the engine under boost is going to be pushing a lot more air than that, but it didn't seem like there was any restriction. There was no weird noises. Now, if I unhook the intake tube off the mass airflow sensor and stick the vacuum in there, it'll actually blow the vacuum out of the intake tube. But those turbos are tiny. I mean, they only have like a 1-inch opening for the air to flow through. The O2 sensor was damaged from the oil contamination. So I have a code for the O2 sensor, which I have a new one coming. We did check back pressure, which we had 0, just on a manual gauge. And a fuel pump is about a year old, as well as the fuel filter. So I didn't check any of that stuff, but it just didn't feel like a low fuel condition, especially since it was running perfectly fine before the first turbo failed.
So, again, not a diesel guy, so I'm going to do this too. I don't want to touch fuel yet. I also, my experience when the scan data doesn't make sense is because Volkswagen's putting in substitute values. So you gotta kind of verify it.
And my laptop was dead at the time because we're doing some renovations at the shop, and I forgot to plug it into a different outlet. So I did not use VCDS. That was data from the Snap-on.
That's fine.
That's
fine.
Either way, it still could be inferred, which is what he's
saying. Well, that's what I was saying. The data from it's all reading the data from the same spot. It all reads it. We're all reading it from a map. But I really
is the map sensor contaminated with oil?
When they act stupid, you're reading wrong data.
One other test we did is I pulled the intake pipe off of the intake, so the boost pipe off the intake, and I just capped it off with my hand, and had another tech kind of power break it, and I could it would blow my hand off, and I could get up to 1,300 millibar.
Okay.
So
But that doesn't prove. I mean, it can build pressure, but I don't know if it can produce the volume. Now, Rob is still with me in Colorado, and he said check the air filters. The air filter's probably plugged because we're going into negative pressure. Now, the air filter is a little bit dirty, and that's where we left it tonight. We were gonna put it back together and try it just with the air box loose. But the air filter isn't
negative pressure.
It could be like half throttle. It kind of varies.
So you're under throttle going into negative pressure.
Correct, at the boost sensor, which diesels don't normally produce vacuum because they're an open intake. And you can hold the throttle at the same position, and then all of a sudden you go into positive pressure. You hear the turbo spool up, and then it runs out. Now
do you feel a difference when it goes into negative pressure, when it goes into vacuum? Does the thing fall on its face?
No.
Or does it? So it feels fine. So maybe
it feels about the same whether it has 1,100 millibar or 780 millibar. The power feels about the same.
Can you tee into that boost pressure sensor and put a pressure transducer in there?
It's mounted straight into.
Yeah.
There's no line. It's hard mounted to the intercooler.
It's like a threaded hole that holds it in, right?
Well, it's actually an O-ring, and there's two mounting bolts that hold it in. So it's a flanged style map sensor. I did have a technician, fluctuate the RPM while I was underneath it, watching the variable vane actuator move, because it does have a reference sensor built in. It's a 3-wire sensor, but there's the N75 valve that's underneath the hood that supplies the vacuum to the canister, the actuator, to move the vanes, and it's moving freely, and it does fluctuate with different engine loads. So before I go in tomorrow and put it all back together and test it without an air filter, I was hoping that you guys would have something else for me.
Have you tried setting it on fire yet?
I know how.
Well, the bad thing is,
so
because the people that she sold it to know that we have an automotive shop, it puts us in a bad situation here. I always tell her not to sell it to anyone but perfectly good running car, you sell it and then it dies, and then it's like you feel bad and you want to take care of it. It might be cheaper at this point just to buy the car back and then figure out whatever's wrong with it, and then resell it to somebody else. But with the price of fuel and diesel going through the roof, I'm sure that the people that bought it would rather fix it and keep the car, because the guy does a 60-mile commute every day.
Yeah.
So let's start over, because I think we're getting. I got pad paper. Let's write this shit down. So you have 2 turbos that destroyed themselves.
Correct.
Okay. So, you got 2 turbos, and then also you have a boost pressure sensor acting a fool.
Correct.
Acting a fool. And right now you have the turbo number 3, which is some aftermarket stupid European. You need to code it in there and put it on a tuner thing. Turbo in there. Bolt on.
The thing is, I mean, it should build some kind of power, even if it wasn't optimum.
Agreed.
Without tuning, it should do something.
If it's slightly different, it's probably got a different air ratio on the exhaust side. It's typically what happens in the European world.
Yeah, agreed. I'm just saying that it's you have turbos that mechanically failed, and they got a turbo in here of unknown origin, unknown specs, but it should still make boost. But you got a boost pressure sensor going negative under throttle, and the car does not feel like it's falling on its face. Remember I was telling you about a substituted data? I really want to know if that's legit. It sounds like it's not.
Okay, so I should scope the boost pressure sensor.
No, because garbage in, garbage out.
I would confirm it's a good boost pressure sensor. So key on engine off doesn't read Vero.
Oh, okay. It does
read manifold absolute, right?
Yes, it reads Barrow. I sorry, I've left out more information. Typical customer. I threw a plug in the end of the discharge hose and put just a manual boost gauge on it. And when we were around 7.5 psi, it was pretty close correlation to what the boost pressure sensor was showing for boost.
But not when you went negative.
Not when we went negative. We have not confirmed anything while driving because there's no easy way to tie in for reference.
See, that's what I'm stuck on right there. I'm stuck on you going negative in your data, but the car does not feel like it fell on its face. I don't care that it's a different turbo. I care about that right now. That's what I'm stuck on.
So do you know of an easy test
Nope.
location?
Anywhere you can put a hole.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, it's an aluminum intake manifold, so I can drill a hole and tap it and
Here's
plug
my-
it afterwards.
Here's my thought. If that system is under vacuum, is that possibly affecting the way that turbocharger oils itself?
Yes.
It's
Well, that's what the crankcase
pressure
the crankcase
pressure on the compressor side maintains an oil seal inside the CHRA, the compressor housing rotating assembly. Because if it's a bearing style and it has excessive oil pressure, but there's vacuum on the compressor side, it will pull oil into the compressor housing through the seal when there's nothing wrong with the turbo, which will starve the journal bearing.
So I think we're all on the same page. I think you need to verify that this engine actually is going in the vacuum. Or you
Yeah,
just got,
if you confirm it's going into vacuum, then that's what you fix
Then
first.
yeah, find the restriction. Yeah.
Which it sounds like, okay, let's just assume it's going into vacuum. Where do we go next?
restriction.
Okay.
Now I did drive it with the boost hose off of the intake, so off of the throttle body per se.
Oh, you know what you could do? If it's a restriction, right? You could put. Could you? No, you couldn't. No, you couldn't. Never mind.
I just run it with the intake tube off and see if it ever goes vacuum, and if it doesn't, then you know that it's.
Either way, either way, you're gonna have to modify something. Like I would put a sensor, a sensor in the intake tube, the inlet tube,
Or just a vacuum boost gauge, just a cheap vacuum boost gauge.
Exactly. Either way, you're gonna have to drill a hole in something, and then
Yeah, and I don't mind doing that. I can drill it for 1/8" pipe and throw a plug in it when I'm done.
Yeah. So what you can
brass
do is
pipe in it when you're
you
done.
do like almost like a back pressure tester kind of deal in the air filter intake side, and take a reference of. And
Oh wait, on
see
the
if
air
it has-
filter intake side?
Yeah, see if it's because if you want to see if it's clogged, maybe you got a fucking mouse in there or some shit like that, and then go into the intake. Just to see where the
If it's going
restrictions
into vacuum and you don't have a restriction at the air filter, the turbo is probably the actual restriction. In which
Yeah,
case,
because the inlet to the turbo and the outlet's about 1 inch diameter.
right. So then you would go, is the turbo spinning? Right.
Now you can hear it. You can hear it spin, and
Right.
if I take the hose off the intake and you snap the throttle, it'll build boost. But is it spinning properly?
So Brian M in the chat is asking, what about even scoping the sensor? Is the sensor off or the scanner interpreting the data wrong? This is where I'm going to say, not every time you want to scope all the things. Sometimes this is where people get lost. Sometimes you need to verify, and this is a chance where this is the thing where you need to verify.
I mean, I'm
a
cheap and
sensor only
lazy.
tells what.
I would bust the intercooler hose off and see if it just reads baro all the time. And if it doesn't, then you know that either A, it's skewed, or B, you get substituted data. Right?
Yeah, but the thing is you gotta replicate the same problem while testing it.
Yeah, but
So
it would
I
give you an
can-
immediate number.
I can tell you this. I took the intake hose off at the throttle body, or the boost hose off at the throttle
Okay.
body,
Okay.
and drove it. And the boost pressure sensor showed atmospheric pressure all the time.
Right. I would trust the
And-
sensor at that point.
And it drove just like you'd expect a non-turbo diesel to run.
1.7 diesel to run.
But
yeah.
but this thing ran. What was your pressure reading? Vacuum reading at idle?
So just very, very minor. We were at 830 at our altitude,
Mm-hmm.
and then it dropped down while driving to about 790 at times.
So is your turbo just shit?
Well, what I'm, I
It
don't know.
spins, though,
It could
so
be.
it's not the restriction.
You know what I'm saying? Is the turbo just not making boost and giving up?
But what would cause it to not make boost?
The vanes.
The vanes are moving because I can watch them move. I can watch the actuator move.
Yeah, the actuator.
Now I can't tell you if the unison ring inside the turbo is not broken.
Like broke, yeah.
But more than likely, if something was bound up inside the turbo, the actuator wouldn't be able to overcome it.
Yeah. So what you're gonna need to do then is, I like what Keith's saying, they pull stuff off, but the thing is you have to replicate the conditions and test the conditions there. But unfortunately, the way to test those conditions, you're modifying the vehicle. You got to drill a hole somewhere. You got to
so you do that. Throw a boost gauge on it.
Yeah.
It'll give you while you're doing all the other tests too. That you'll know right off the bat. Okay, it is going into vacuum.
Yeah.
So then, if it's going into vacuum,
now I guess I could unhook. So we unhooked it at the intake. I could always unhook the intercooler pipe below the intercooler, and that'll let us know if we have a restriction in the intercooler. Because if it still shows negative pressure in the boost sensor, that's where our restriction is at. It's in the intercooler.
Yeah.
So Chris Goff hit me up. He said an oversized or undersized compressor wheel will drastically affect suction airflow. He's kind of right. That's kind of where we're saying. Like, I'm wondering if the turbo is the problem. Not that it's bad. It's just wrong.
Now, Joe Mama says, sounds like a clogged fuel filter.
Did I
pronounce that wrong?
I'm not at fuel though. I'm not at fuel.
Now, it doesn't feel like a lack of fuel condition. Normally, those will run good off the bottom and then starve at the top.
I'm not at fuel. I think you're focused on the right spot. It goes in the vacuum. Does it actually go in a vacuum, and then why? That's the thing. Did the other? Well, you said you drove. Well, it was all fine before the second turbo took it.
Yeah, I drove it about 200 or 300 miles ago, and
so
it ran
your variable
fine.
your variable is turbo of unknown origin.
The variable is the turbo blew up. So what was the cause of the first turbo blowing up? Turbo number 2 of questionable origin blew up, and it looked like they sunk that car and they retrieved the turbo to sell it to me.
And what's the code name of the stock turbo?
I'm not sure.
Okay. I'm just trying to pull up Garrett specs of VNT 17 versus what.
Now I do have another vehicle. It's my mom's commuter car. That's a death trap. It's a 2006 Jetta with a BEW, but it's a year newer and it's got the DSG transmission, which is different than what I have. But many of the parts may be the same, so I may have known good parts.
And Mike said just to remove the inlet side of the turbo to eliminate a restriction on the intake side. That would eliminate the filter, the ducting to the turbo, everything.
And this was a what year car? 04?
Yeah, 2004. So it might have been a KP39.
Yeah. KP, that's a Mitsubishi turbo, I think.
Let me see here. Sorry, I'm just catching up on the chat, making sure I'm not missing something. There's not an actual map sensor. D-Tech Engineering asked if there was a map. The map sensor is a boost sensor, and it's mounted on the intercooler. The intake not supposed to have negative pressure or fluctuations because the throttle body remains open all the time, except for when you shut it down or certain EGR applications. So it's using the boost sensor as a map sensor for reference.
The more we're talking about this, I think that turbo is it's not acting correctly for what you need in your car.
They're not much different. The VNT 17 uses a 49 millimeter compressor wheel. The KP 39 is like 47. No, 47.9.
So what are the two sizes?
49 and 47.9 millimeter inlet size. KP 39 was a Borg Warner. The VNT 17 is a Garrett.
Which one's smaller?
The original one that it had was smaller.
So you got a bigger turbo.
Slightly.
1.
Almost negligibly. They were used on the same exact BEW engine, just two different markets. They have there's a 10 horsepower rating difference.
So that turbo should be capable of definitely supplying the thing.
And not being a restriction by being way too big. I mean, you could put a Holstead HX35 on that thing, and it's not going to be a restriction on the intake.
So then that turbo should be more than enough to provide the boost. So either you have a restriction, or the turbo's not doing the thing it's supposed to be doing, and it's lying to you, or you have a line sensor.
Turbos are pretty simple. They're air in, wizardry happens, and then power comes out.
Yeah. So the turbo's not turboing. The turbo's not turboing, or
alternator ain't altering. My cams aren't camming. Those are all the excuses of why somebody loses a street race.
Either way,
my computer stopped.
So I have an O2 sensor coming in the morning because I know that it's bad. It's completely caked with oil. So I have a mass airflow coming just in case my diag leads in that direction. Typically from Volkswagen, everything I've done, if it runs better with it unplugged, it's normally a mass airflow that's faulty. And I think somebody has cleaned it, which kills Volkswagen mass airflows.
Yeah,
which is fine, but why are you going negative? I'm stuck on that.
Yeah, even if he's had that problem, you wouldn't have a restriction.
Correct.
Right, which is why he brought it up, because recognizes that that's not copacetic.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'm used to working on Power Strokes and other diesel applications where if you have a plugged air filter, it's going to suck that thing in.
Yeah.
So this air filter isn't sucked in or deformed at all. So I'll get another one in the morning just because it is a little dirty. It is possible because that turbo is so small, it doesn't have the power to suck in a dirty air filter. And maybe it's dirtier than I think it is. I mean, light barely shines through it.
This is a good one. I want to know how this happens.
Technical. Light barely shines through it.
Well, how else do you
That's how you test it, right?
You just put on your mouth and blow through it.
No, you got to build one of those K&N flow benches like they have at every parts store.
But I can just unhook the intake tube from the air box,
Yeah,
and go drive the car and prove that theory.
Yep, that'll rule out everything. Yeah.
Yep. That's your easiest test.
This does have the extra flap in the bottom of the air box, so if the air tube in the fender gets plugged up, it can suck it from the engine bay. I think it's designed for cold starts, but if there was enough vacuum in the air box, it would suck it from that port.
So I think there's your test plan right there. Disconnect, just take out the air filter, pull that tube off, drive the car, see if you still go into vacuum. And if you do, then fix the restriction. If not, then you got to go further. And I really want to see if that thing's actually going into vacuum or low pressure.
or like you said, pull the one side off the intercooler. That way you've still got the map reading from inside the intercooler. And if you're still going to vacuum, then you got a restriction on the intercooler.
But Correct. You're going to be, but the thing is the car's going to be falling on its face. You might be running on substituted values at that point.
Right. So it doesn't just like hit a brick wall and fall on its face. It's just
kind of loses power.
Constantly low power all the way
fine.
through.
So that is why. Okay, then now you're gonna put a meter or a scope on that sensor to see if it's true and see if you're going into substituted data, and then you can run with the pipe off. Because then you can trust the numbers coming in.
Now I'm lazy and it's faster for me to run with the pipe off first. So
yeah, that's why. I just kicked the pipe off.
And then I'll hook a scope up to the sensor and check the voltage. And it did set a cam sensor code, but that code is like an intermittent. It comes up every once in a while. Keith's going crazy.
That was weird.
I just haven't.
That's your power flickering?
No.
Haven't tackled the cam sensor code because I don't think you can pull those out without pulling the cam sprocket off.
Those reasons. I think I'll be interested to know what you find.
Okay. So that's where I'll go. I'll reassemble it in the morning. I was just tired and done with it for the night, so I left it in pieces on the rack.
Hey, so how about them gas prices?
Sorry.
I put $30 in the car today. It's gone already.
Yeah, my 36-gallon F-150 is upset when I go to fill it.
Yeah.
It was like $119 on the way to Vision to fill it from empty.
That's how my
Like,
Titan
oh my
is.
god.
Yep.
It's like, bull.
And
then I bought that hybrid.
Francisco asked if it's an aftermarket air filter. I'm sure that it is. And if I put one in it, it's probably going to be an aftermarket one again because Volkswagen takes me a couple of days to get.
Yeah. There isn't even a VW dealer down by Canyon City, right? That's where you're at?
Yeah, there's one in Colorado Springs.
Yeah.
Did you check Identifix?
I did.
But Colorado Springs is an hour and a half away. Hour away ish.
I will be there in the morning, so I could pick one up.
Go up to Academy and Briargate. I think that's where the VW dealer is, isn't it? No, Huberger's up there. That's the Subaru dealer.
Yeah. The one we buy from is Moroni, and they're on the north side.
Oh yeah.
There is one in Motor City on the south side, but we normally don't buy from them.
Yeah. It's at Woodman Nissan. That's where I got a lot of stuff at when I was buying Nissan parts up there. And a Huberger, because, everybody has the frickin' Subaru.
We got a lot of them.
Yeah.
So did anyone else take the Subaru class at Vision? The class was packed and I sat at the front, so I didn't really see who else was in the room. Jason Chavez was in there with me.
Of course he was in there.
Tommy took it.
He loves Subarus.
Learns why his car is a piece of...
It was a pretty good class at demystifying the variable valve timing faults on the new Subarus.
Mode 6, I heard a lot of stuff.
Yeah, which
cool.
Explains why I could never find it, because I didn't read the service bulletin from Subaru that says that all
You didn't
the
read the
data's in Mode 6.
39-page service bulletin?
No, I did not.
So I called Leo for help on a Subaru because I had a 15 WRX STI up here that was from an auction. And I went to a shop, and it was pouring oil out the cam seals, so they did the timing belt. It was a belt motor. It was the EJ25. The overhead cam, and it ran the cam sensors were Hall effect, and the crank sensor was VR, and which was different. It was only like 1 or 2 years they did that. It was the overhead cam, belt engine with Hall effect cam, and everything else. So that car and engine was not in that TSB, but that was the problem with the car. I had to do a PCM to fix it.
Cool.
Chad just left.
So I'm still here. I'll be right back.
I know.
I had done an engine in one of those that the new motor ended up coming with the different tooth cam and crank sprockets. And I got done, and it was a crank no start. And then, long story short, it ended up having either more or less teeth than it should have.
Yeah.
That was fun to figure out.
There's 45 people watching this.
Yeah. I called Leo about that car. I was on Facebook. It's on Facebook on one of the groups. And I was like, hey, does anyone have a known good cam and crank? And because, I didn't read the service info where there's a known good cam and crank in the SI, of course.
Yeah.
And Leo was like, because it was a 0016 code or something. And Leo was like, oh, did you check out this TSB? And that was the first thing I checked out. And I was like, oh, yeah, that's not even this motor. That's all the chain motors. But it was still the problem. Beat me up for like 2 days. I go to this shop, and they've called us for a bunch of programming, but they didn't call us for a lot of diag. They're a pretty prideful shop. And I go there to look at it, and they finally break down and ask me, and the tech was like, all right, so I'm an oscilloscope guy. Do you know how to use an oscilloscope? He looked at me and asked me that. And I was like, yeah, Ronald.
You've ever heard of that kind of thing?
Yeah. And then he was like, because we got a snap-on Triton here. And I was like, cool. I got a Pico scope, so let me go grab that. He's like, you got a Pico? And he got all excited.
How many do you want to see?
I love when you can share that excitement with someone that you didn't expect would.
Yeah. Yeah, he left the industry.
Yeah. Okay.
Be right back.
A matter of fact, I'm going to look him up on Facebook and see where he's working now. What are we waiting on him for? What is he going to get?
Chris is on fire. Chad's back. That's good.
Yep,
That's
I'm back.
good. That's good.
And I'm looking for some posts that I made on a Subaru. Are you guys doing case studies and stuff tonight?
We had no plans tonight. I'm like, hey,
I
you
got
want
off
to go
my
live?
CTI class and saw I was tagged in a group that was like, "We're going live. Click this link," and I clicked it just to figure out what's happening.
There was
So I have nothing.
zero planning tonight. So
I got someone asking about my class. April 30, last day of April, first day of May. We're having, so that's a Saturday and Sunday. 2-day hands-on programming in Tulsa. We had one back in October, and then the last 2 times I've taught it, everyone that came had an Isaac laptop. So I was like, this first 3 hours of class is going to be super boring.
because you don't need it.
Yeah.
It's
And it's
already
been that
done.
way at almost every class we hold at the shop. So I took out 2 hours and 45 minutes of slide material from it. Then added in a bunch of like IO terminal and used module stuff. And then I'm going to get with Tommy, who's not in here.
Where did he go? Did he leave?
I don't know. I'm going to get with Tommy. Tommy wants to help me write. Tommy wants to write a class, and I want to help him write the class. Not him help me. But I want to help him write it.
It'd be awesome.
Be very cool.
And I'm back.
Welcome back.
I got an adult beverage.
So did I. Oh, water?
Water.
Come on. I got beer.
The water's empty.
It's no
Got a
Guinness,
famous-
but I do have a beer.
Glad Tommy's not here because it's our famous pizza cup, Hideaway Pizza,
It's
which
blurry.
is probably.
You have it
Is it?
intentionally blurred out. There you go.
That's funny. It did not. It's like that's a background. Get rid of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that
Makes
was a
my mic
fun-
as a
that was
background,
that was
too,
funny
see?
car case study, Chad.
What's that?
Your car, that was fun. I would really like to see what's going on with it. I'm sorry I could be more help, but I don't diesel at all.
That's what you should do, Chad. Tomorrow is just go live and just. All right, what do I do now? And
The
take
problem is
suggestions.
I have too many things to do.
Yeah,
That's always the
I
case.
know.
Like, oh,
I've
you've
got
a
an
problem
07
child
Rano
car?
that I can't fix. So
So I don't have any supporting material. I was trying to find where I posted it on Facebook. But can I share a Subaru case study that may help some of you in the future?
Hell yeah.
So I had
no.
a
Is
No Subarus?
the moral of the story, don't work on a
course.
Subaru, burn it to the ground.
oh, we work on lots of them, tons of them. I haven't run into too many of the timing chain issues yet, and this one was a belt motor, which threw me for a loop because I haven't run into this issue on a belt motor. But Keith talking about his turbo belt motor with VVT codes reminded me of it. So backstory is another shop replaced the engine on this car, had a rod knock, lack of maintenance. No surprise, Subaru owner. Burns oil and they don't top it up. So it's a 2010 Subaru Forester EJ 25 single overhead cam, non-turbo. The shop has been fighting with the new engine, a P0303 and 304 misfire on cylinder 3 and 4. They got tired of the other shop, so it came to my shop. First thing I noticed was it had a dead miss. Spark plug wire was off on cylinder number 4. Slap it back on. Car runs great, but the check engine light flashes above 2,500 RPM. It counts and logs misfires on cylinder 3 and 4. It sets a 304 or 303 and 304 codes as soon as you drive it. So I checked everything on this thing, pull the plug out, see what they put in. They had the right stuff in there, put it back together. Relative compression was good. You don't feel a miss when the light is flashing. So I scoped the cam sensor, crank sensor. I had another 2010 in the lot. The only difference was auto versus manual. So I checked that car. Everything lined up perfectly. No dropouts or glitches noticed in the cam or crank. Next thing I noticed is looking at my data PIDs, the misfires start counting as soon as the variable valve lift system turns on. And I'm like, well, maybe there is a slight air difference and I just can't feel it. I can't feel that miss, but the computer's smart enough to know. So I did everything I could, scoped in cylinder while manually activating the system on both banks. Now, 3 and 4 are on opposite banks. So you normally don't have a shared system there. They have separate solenoids, they have separate oil pressure sensors. There's no codes for any of that system. And all of that seemed to be fine. I put a pulse sensor on the intake. When I activate the variable valve lift on one side, I'll get, a repeating pattern of 2 low cylinders, 2 high cylinders. Go to the other bank, do the same thing, get 2 low cylinders, 2 high cylinders. I'm like, okay, the variable valve lift system is working. I pulled it apart and checked the valve adjustment, pulled the valve covers off. Everything physically looked fine as well. I came down to like, okay, this is a reman motor. Maybe there's just something wrong with this crank pulley, the timing gear that has the reluctor built into it. So I pulled the crank sensor out just because it was easy underneath the alternator, looked down in there, and the pulley looks terrible. So I'm like, okay, I need to get a pulley. It's all beat up. I pull the timing cover off and look at it, and the rebuilder of this engine threw the pulley in a tumbler.
Yeah.
So
like
tumbled.
to clean it?
Yes.
Awesome.
That's what it looks like.
What?
So we get a factory pulley. I throw it on there. I'm like, man, this is gonna fix it. I can't believe they did that. Go out and drive it. Runs perfect. Engine light flashes. So where would you guys go next for this? Put an ECM in it?
I would scan the code and see if it's the same cylinders.
I would check cam versus crank compared to the correct engine.
So I have another one known good in the parking lot with a fresh engine that runs perfect, has no flashing lights. I know the timing's good because I put the belts on, and it matches perfectly. Same cylinders, counts misfires on cylinder 3 and 4. So I naturally posted it on Facebook to see what everyone's response was, and everyone says that I must be out of time or must have a airflow issue or balance issue. And I verified all that stuff the best of my ability, and everything seemed fine when compared to another one identical to it in the shop.
They got the wrong PCM because they swapped the PCM with the engine.
They did not swap the PCM.
Okay.
So at this point, I'm like, okay, well, maybe there's a learned value in the PCM that I can't fix. There's no misfire relearn. There's no crank profile relearn listed in service information. Someone posted on Facebook, and I was trying to pull up their name because they saved my butt. They shared a handwritten note on their toolbox that says key off, connect the green D-check connector.
Oh, yeah.
Key on, hook the scan tool up, clear codes, turn the key off, unplug the connector, turn the key on, wait the 20 seconds, whatever, for the throttle body relearn, and start the car up. I did that.
Does the profile correction for misfires.
It's not in service information. I looked all over.
What year?
I went up and down years. Maybe I just missed it, but I could not find that in service information.
Well,
but after that, I drove the car. No flashing light. Runs great.
So that's
it was what year?
That's essentially you're setting it back to default learned value for the crank.
Correct.
Yeah.
It was at 2010.
10. You said Outback?
Forester.
Normally that's a scan tool function and not a physical
right,
thing.
Subaru like regularly doesn't have scan tool functions.
Yeah, scan tools have always sucked. Like A to Z.
So based on that information, I'm waiting for the next one to show up in the lot. But the newer 2012 Subarus that run 2012 and up, that have a timing chain motor, an FA or an FB motor, they have learned values for the variable valve timing system that are stored in EEPROM and cannot be reset. My experiment is going to be, once I get one of those in the shop, is to somehow try to do this same process to see if there's a way that's not even published that might reset those values. Because in this 2010, I don't know if that profile was stored in EEPROM because it doesn't get erased. It might be stored in the MCU, but it doesn't get erased on a battery disconnect. There's no function to erase it. It seems like it's a permanent stored value. So the next time I get a Subaru in that has, learned values out of range that cannot be reset, and the only option is PCM replacement or EEPROM it, I want to try this and see if that'll actually erase it.
But you too are going to have a handwritten note on your toolbox.
I will.
And the symptoms or the check engine light or the flashing
Do I
check
need to
engine
comb my
light
hair?
that
My hair's
happens
crazy.
that happens pretty immediately.
I thought your hair looked fine. You were rugged. Now you're sexy.
Did I look like I just got out of the shower? Valerie told me to go live from the bathroom.
You should have with a rubber ducky.
Oh, that's not a rubber duck.
Oh boy.
Giggity.
Beep.
Giggity.
So have you guys did you look it up, Keith? Did you look for that?
I'm looking.
Okay.
I don't doubt you that it's superiorly hidden if it exists. Just because. We did deal with a 2021 Nissan Rogue today that set an aiming no good 18 error code that is not in service info, and that my instructional designer friend from Nissan also said is not in service info that he could find. While attempting to calibrate a front lane departure camera, the car. We have a fleet of Rogues, 17 to 22, coming to us over the next 3 days, or well, in the last 2 days. Tomorrow ending is the last day that we'll get them. We got 8 or 10 that we're doing in a row, and they come to us 2 at a time. The windshield people show up, they replace the windshields, we pull them in, do the calibrations, do the test drives, and they leave, and the companies swap them out 1 at a time with their people. So we got 8 total. 3 of them are 2021s. We had done two previous 2021s in a row. Again, double checking by VIN service info, because we just pulled it up by Nissan service info, and each one is exactly the same. And they get to the third one, and even though they're trying to set them close to the same area so they don't have to move stuff a whole lot, each time they're peeling the tape up, rechecking because the first one jacked them. And got a aiming no good, code 18. First, they send me a picture, and I realized battery voltage is like 10.9. And I'm like, hey, battery voltage has got to be better than that. So that was it. And then they call me back. This is my guys at the shop. I was at the house today. And Liz. And they're fighting it. And it says aiming no good, reason 18, and reason codes only go up to 12 in the service info. Doesn't matter if you go up a year, down a year, if you go from a Rogue to a Rogue Sport, which is a Kwasashi from another market, or a Murano or whatever. And the answer was there was a speck of dust between the camera and the windshield. Just like they got pictures, so I haven't seen the pictures yet, but Liz said she could see it pretty clearly that there was some debris in there. But it said an error code that wasn't in the list of errors. So that's a fun one. This is also one of our only vehicles we ever deal with that have a secure gateway. So if you're used to using Nissan scan tools and you're used to going to the module and clicking work support, it's not there.
You gotta unlock it with your twiddle. Get in there.
Yeah, so when you go into it, there's usually like DTC work support, calib data, ECU identification, then work support. And work support's where all your special functions, miscellaneous functions, activations, bidirectional control, that kind of stuff. But there's no work support tab. But there is a CGW tab with the red light. Click CGW tab, bottom right, you click on Open Secure Gateway because everything says restricted in all the functions. And then we click Open Secure Gateway, then you log in with your twiddle just like you're fixing to do a programming event, and then the work support tab magically appears.
Funny aside with that. If you log in with your twiddle, it unlocks it for the day. So if you wanted to do stuff with a different scan tool, you can do
yes.
that. I've done it with an Autel, not an Autel, a launch.
Yeah.
And it won't do it. I'll log in with the twiddle, and then unplug the factory stuff, plug in the launch, and you can do calibrations all day long until the next day.
So we did that with Chrysler. We Y-split the OBD2 port, unlocked the car with YTech, and it did functions with the scan tool before AutoAuth was out. The problem is we had to ID the vehicle because Autel wouldn't even show any buttons for functions for a 19 or 18 or whatever it was. So we had to go down to a 17 and try them, so half the functions worked and half of them didn't. But we did confirm you can unlock the secure gateway, then use an IM tool to pull PIN numbers.
Cool.
So yeah. Is it time? It's 11 o'clock.
It's late. It's 10:02 here in the Central Time.
Well, you're
It's only 9 for.
It's only 9 o'clock.
You were in the tub at 7.
My foot's been killing me all day. Actually, all week.
Fix or it didn't happen. What'd you do to your foot?
I don't know. I thought that I broke something because it was like making a popping
Who?
Oh, what?
and it radiating pain. I don't know. It's arthritis or something.
You got the
So-
rheumatiz?
Hell, getting old.
One of my
Or-
techs
or
had a problem
gout.
like that with his knee when he found out he had broke it a couple weeks earlier and didn't know it.
Well,
I think it was the 12 hours of driving with my foot in a weird position from Kansas City back to Colorado.
That sounds like old people problems.
That's
I
not a
am
terrible
old.
drive, though. What was that, like 8.5 hours?
No, it ended up being 12 on the way back. It was 9.5 there, 12.5 or 12 hours back. I-70 was closed. The
It was all
snowstorm.
downhill.
I was
Oh,
going to say,
downhill
because
on the way back.
typically I would take, like from Tulsa, I would take I-35 up through like Wichita up to 70 and 70 all the way across to Denver and then down to the Springs even.
So we didn't even
So-
go to Denver. We took a cut. We took Highway 24
Oh, like
from
Ellicott?
Lyman down, but right at the Kansas border to Colorado, the first town, there was a flashing light that said "road closed." So we
Like, this is
and
gonna
the
suck.
roads were terrible. So we
Is
take
that
the.
down by like Dodge City? Kansas?
I'm not sure. It was Burlington was the Colorado city, which I've never heard about. So we take the exit ramp, and there's about 6 inches of snow on the exit ramp. I'm like, oh, this probably isn't a good idea because there's only a couple inches of snow on the interstate. I was like, as long as we don't stop, we'll be fine. And as soon as we got to the top, the snowplow turned on the on ramp, and a line of cars were following them. So I had to take a right and do a U-turn and then get in line behind them. But no, it was about 40 miles an hour for the next 3 hours. So we kind of lost a lot of time.
wow. Yeah.
That's crazy. Okay, so when I take it,
Go ahead.
I was going to say I take 70 across Kit Carson, then come up to Lyman. 140. So you were just north.
So
of
we
where I
left
typically
we
go
left
for-
Vision. I rode in the van with Isaac and Jason, and we were with Brandon and David Wagner and Corey and all the guys from Philly. Cuba was there, and
Set an airport for how many?
we all go
hours?
through security and everything. I'm at my gate. I end up getting on my plane, and then I take off. And then the pilot gets on the intercom. He goes, "Congratulations, you guys were the last plane to leave Kansas City. Everyone else is grounded." And then I finally land in Chicago, and I'm messaging people, and everyone is stuck. I'm like, there's no way that I was the last one out. That's crazy. I don't normally get that lucky.
Wow.
So thanks
I
for
read
coming
that
out,
when I got
Michael.
home.
Yeah, all these people had to stay at the airport. I guess they couldn't get a rental car. They couldn't get an
See you,
Uber.
Michael.
just messed up.
So I actually ended up skipping my morning class on Sunday because
Yeah.
I was trying to beat the storm home, and I'm glad I did because it was getting uglier and uglier, and we probably would have been stuck either in Kansas City or somewhere along the way if we didn't.
Yeah.
That's funny.
So luckily I didn't have any travel issues like everyone else did. And I think Brandon lost his bags. This is bad.
Yeah, the
Oh,
whole
man.
crew lost their bags. Yeah.
Yeah,
Sounds like
Brian Good lost his bags on the way to Vision.
See, and I bought like $1,000 worth of stuff. I bought a HV tuners from Isaac. I bought like $400 from AES Wave, and I got all this stuff in my bag. So I'm like, man, if I would have lost that would have sucked.
Did anybody buy one of those Devos?
I saw that. It was pretty cool.
I bought one.
Yeah,
We were using it on this Nissan. It's really good for voltage drop,
yeah. Is that
as long
basically
as you don't need a scope.
what it is? A way to
So,
easily measure
It's a box
voltage
with a 22-foot lead to the battery that reads out battery voltage all the time on the large screen. And the two smaller ones next to it, it gives voltage drop to power and ground. So it's got two leads. You can plug one to power, one to ground, and get voltage drop to each. So if you touch them together, you get battery voltage in half on both, right? Because you're seeing the voltage. It's read as voltage loss on the tool.
Yeah.
So it'll give you voltage drop to ground and to power at the same time. So it was good for checking power circuits and ground circuits because when you poke it with a scope, it's zero, so it's ground or open. right?
Yeah.
And this was poking a supply ground to a vehicle stepped antenna with the ground, and it was voltage drop 0.007 to ground or whatever. And then it has the ability to long press the only button on the whole machine, and it's got like 3 functions built in it, so it can pulse width modulate with a 220 milliamp load to a circuit as well.
To load the circuit, yeah, cool.
Yeah, but its screen refresh rate's only 330 milliseconds, and then the max load is 220 milliamp. So it's about the same as a test light.
Yeah, small one, yeah.
Yeah. And then it's got 2... Ooh, I take that back. No, it's got 2 internal loads that are voltage drop sensing. So when you turn it on load, it'll either load it with 220 or 500, I think is what he said. I don't know. I interrogated the crap out of the guy that was... I asked a ton of questions about refresh rates and stuff, and he had an answer for all of them that he was confident in and was able to explain why on each piece. So
that's good.
For
not
$500,
not just a mindless salesman, but someone that actually knows
not just
the
a sales guy that was like, "Look, let me poke the headlight bulb and show you that it's good." Yeah.
That's good.
But they said it was perfectly fine because everything they showed was with the component unplugged. He's like, that way you don't have to have 5 different test light bulbs. I was like, well, what's wrong with doing it when it's... Can you back probe it and do it? What is that a problem? And he was like, no. Just I was like, what's wrong with the load that's in the system? He's like, well, that's what you're testing. I was like, right. So if you back probe it and there's no voltage drop to the component's failed, right? And he was like, oh, I would guess so. and then he went in to change
the material. That's what you did.
Yeah, yeah. He was like,
he just blew his mind.
That makes a
because
lot
we
of
had
sense.
the bulb unplugged, and I was like, why not leave the bulb plugged in?
Yeah,
and then just check voltage drop to the bulb. So, but it was good. The tool so far is good, except for I spent the first 10 minutes griping that I got a bad unit out of the box because I had a bad connection on the battery.
Wah, wah.
It was a Nissan, so it's got the big long, it's got the ground and then the long stem and then like open copper. It's like clamped onto it and it just didn't turn on. And I was like, well, that's good. And this is good. So I literally got out another tool and started voltage dropping the cables on the diode to find out if it was the lead cable or the alligator clamps or the unit itself. And then ended up moving the clamp and find out I was just...
I was gonna say, you didn't maybe like wiggle the clamp?
Oh, I did. I took it off and put it back on in the same spot that apparently doesn't work.
1 in a million, kid. 1 in a million.
Oh, yeah. Every time.
Chad's in trouble.
Ready?
Chad,
Chad, you're getting pulled to bed.
Yeah, we got to bounce before Chad gets in trouble here.
Yeah, Chad.
Yeah.
You got to go.
I got to leave to Springs at like 5 a.m.
Oh. Okay.
So, Brian, what are you planning on doing with that HP tuners?
I don't know yet. I'm not a guy to do modifications to cars, but the diag side of the tool looks interesting. I don't know yet.
It does have some pretty good data logging capabilities.
Yeah.
Not on every vehicle, but
there's an ESC of an ATS type tool in there. There's a field trim map block thing that works really well. Yeah. You can also diagnose a lot of active fuel management systems with it.
Permanently.
By deactivating it temporarily to confirm.
It forever doesn't fail anymore.
Well, and there are some other things that you can do it, some slight adjustments and tuning, especially to VVT systems, to make them less failure prone. Like on Fords, when they rattle at coming to a stop, you can adjust some VVT maps so they maybe activate at 1500 RPM instead of 1000 RPM.
Yeah, the timing. The timing in which it shuts off, and yeah.
It's all totally theoretical, right, Chad?
Yeah, theoretical. Yeah, just hypothesizing some of the
what
functions
could be done.
There. Yeah.
You can. We love you, EPA.
I meant what you can do is you can look at what the factory has got these things programmed, so you can better understand the system.
That is true, though. because you can pull a file off of one and look through it without paying for the
Yes, tokens.
token. So there's a lot of info in comparing one versus the other.
So,
Okay.
We've tiptoed around that enough.
I'm still learning the software and where everything is and how to do it. So it's all new to me. But 10 minutes and 38 seconds. That means at midnight tomorrow, this is your last chance to buy a Picoscope sweepstakes admission entry.
Hey, that's the correct time now, right?
Yes. I had that 12 hours off. But yeah, good enough. The strike of midnight tomorrow. We're all done. So if you have it,
That's beautiful.
go do it. And that's it.
Yep.
Adios, guys.
I'm
That
out.
was fun. Bye.
Have a good
Bye
night.
now.